Hello, beautiful people. Miss Freund here, Baby Freund here. And I just wanted to kind of verbally explain to you what the next 6 weeks kind of look like, whether or not we go back on May 1st or not. This is kind of be the literacy flow for all three literacy teachers classes. And if you're like me, and I know a lot of you are, it's really helpful to have like a verbal explanation of some of the online learning stuff, in addition to just like reading a whole bunch of words, on the page about what you're supposed to be doing or what not supposed to be doing, but what you could be doing because it's optional. So, just sort of long story short, us three literacy teachers wanted to create a this voluntary, but I think like super fun, fun as in like because I like books, so I think it's fun. A fun unit where you are going to read a book with me and your classmates by listening along and reading along. And the book that we're going to be reading together is The Giver by Lois Lowry, which is a book that I read in seventh grade that I has stuck with me, and I've read probably 3 or 4 times in my life, and it's a very beautiful book. And so basically, every single Monday, starting today, you are going to receive a hyperdoc from me. There are 6 Mondays that this is going to happen. And I just want to continue to stress, as long as the district is making this optional and voluntary online learning, you do what you're wanting to do. So it is a book study. So like if you like don't start reading it, at the beginning, you can always catch up. So there's always time to like jump on board even if you like miss a week or something. So that's always a cool option. So here's basically, and I just have like notes right here, that's why I keep looking down. Here's sort of the big picture. Today, Monday, you're going to be getting this, and I have this on the screen, this hyperdoc. And basically, every single week, these are the student objectives, meaning this is just kind of like if you choose to participate, here is the list of things to do. Long story short, you're going to read/listen to 4 chapters at a time of the book, The Giver. And you're going to then meet the following Monday. So that would mean like between now and next Monday, you'd read/listen to 4 chapters of the book. And then next Monday, we're going to meet on Zoom and talk about it. You can read through these objectives kind of on your own time, but essentially you're going to first like read the book because kind of duh. And we've talked about the concept of annotating this whole year. And annotating, remember, means you're commenting on the text. So that doesn't always mean on paper. Sometimes that can just mean that you're like thinking about those things or you're making note, really in any capacity. We've decided to have discussion questions that I will talk about in a moment that will guide you through those annotations. So essentially, you're going to have both just the chapters and the discussion questions to think about, kind of like when we used to do rhetoric rumbles way back in the day when we were like saw each other in person. And then if you are bored and loving it, there are optional extension activities to do that are just like, I don't know, really awesome things just to be thinking about. So once you get off this YouTube video and you get done with processing all this information, the next box in the hyperdoc says this week's read aloud. You'll notice that you just like click on chapter 1 video, and that's the YouTube link to me, yours truly, reading each chapter of the book. You have a PDF right here, which is a PDF of like an ebook, so that you can read the book alongside it. I highly suggest that because it helps out with your like reading comprehension, but it also is going to keep you on track. I think like focus wise, and you're also going to be able to use text evidence when we have the discussion because you'll have the page numbers and all that stuff. Moving down a little bit further. This Google Doc here where it says discussion questions from Monday's Zoom meeting, while you read, or maybe after you listen to/read each chapter of the book, you will click on this and you'll notice it says like make a copy. You'll make your own copy of it as it's making a copy for me. And you'll notice that it is just a question per chapter to be thinking about. And you'll write your response here. And text evidence, we're just always practicing like basically where'd you find it? Why are you thinking those thoughts? Why are you responding in the way you're wanting to respond? And then on page 2 is that extension work if you want to do it. Sometimes extension work, don't think of it, I guess, as extra work. It might just be different work or more creative work than just your discussion questions. So this is the Google Doc that is where you will essentially record what you're thinking in preparation for that discussion. Going back to the HyperDoc, so you're listening to the 4 chapters over the course of this week. You're annotating your thoughts about those chapters in the discussion question doc. And then this, of course, just is explaining that extension learning thing I was talking about, which is all optional, of course. And then next Monday, and I'll always put it in bold here when the just Zoom online discussion, because language arts and literacy classes meet on Mondays now as we're doing online stuff. The Zoom meeting, you'll find the link to go to here for the meeting and the time that your period meets. Simple as that. So you will, and I'm just scrolling down a little bit more, will read the chapters, record your thoughts in the discussion doc. You'll come to the Zoom meeting the Monday following the reading of those 4 chapters. You'll talk and you'll contribute the way that you normally would in class, just a really hopefully laid back but wonderfully engaging and just fun environment where you can just talk about this book with the people you know and love, aka Baby Freud. And when we're done with the Zoom meeting, you'll just go to Google Classroom and you will turn in that Google Doc with your discussion questions in one of the first things on the stream, which will be called Week 1's discussion work. And it'll just be a Dropbox where you just attach that Google Doc where you wrote your discussion question responses. Just to reiterate, because this is voluntary work at this time, and maybe forever, but voluntary work at this time till May 1st, the turning in is suggested as sort of like a way to practice that accountability, but it is not going to be required feedback on either of our parts, and it's also not required that it will not be graded. So know that it is 100% voluntary and optional. But if you are participating in the unit, I think it's always a really good idea to say these are what I do expect of a person, including myself, of course, being prepared. Miss Whitaker, the sub that is my maternity leave sub, will be joining us for all of the online discussions, because sometimes when the baby comes out, I may or may not be present. And so she will sort of sub as the leader for me on those days if I'm not able to be there. So that's kind of how we're going to work with that. With the email correspondence and the sending out of the HyperDocs every Monday and just the checking in, I will still be as present as humanly possible. Aside from the HyperDoc and explaining this, please know that I am always open for communication outside of Mondays. That's just going to be the only day that we are supposed to be sending out new information like this. So both the sending out of the HyperDocs and the Zoom meetings will occur on Mondays. Today, this first Monday, there is no Zoom meeting because you haven't read any of the book yet. So at this time, when you log out of this YouTube video, you can open up the HyperDoc and start with reading/listening to The Giver, chapters 1 through 4. Email me with any questions, and I love and miss you very much. I hope you're doing well. Talk soon.